Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
This is our very, very first online event, and I'm hoping that we've come on in the right way. This is huge technology that we're bringing on board to run our events, and it's so great to see all of you up bright and early this morning to come and join us on our goal setting and vision board session of 2021. Anita.
Oh, I'm so grateful and honoured to be here this morning with you, with my husband, to deliver what's going to be an amazingly transformational day, I hope, for all of you, every single one of you.
Absolutely. And we've got all these screens, so if you see our eyes, I don't know if the team can cut from behind us, and you can actually see the view from behind.
Yeah, we just saw
you
it.
See that?
Great. Yes, just saw that.
Fab. Okay, so when I looked down the list of people, and it was incredible, actually, the amount of people that we have on the screen. I'm going to name a few, and because when I looked, it's just like this, where you have all come from in terms of knowing us. There's so many new faces, people, but we've got so many people we've met from so many different walks of life. And I looked, we've got Claire, who we swapped a seat with on a plane a few years ago, and Claire's online. I saw her earlier. We've got Mebs, who I haven't seen for 32 years. I was at university with him. I'm going to miss a few out, unfortunately, but you can just put on the group if I missed you out, and I'll apologize to you later. We've got Martin, Nye, Steve, and Inderpreet from Hallmark and Savista. They're the people we work with. We've got Louise on, our dear friend who sang at our wedding. We've got our cousins, Savita and Harish and Avnish and Gauri from America, and Royni and Suresh, hopefully be joining us shortly. Pooja, Varun, my uncle from the US. We've got our cousin, Raman from Canada. And we've got our cousins from India, Bobby and Sophia and Yogesh, that hopefully will be online in due course. Friends from the care sector, Angela, Adam, Amit, Palvi, Mitesh and his whole family, Simon, Anil, going to be joining us online right now. We've got Sweta, we do loads of charity work with in India. Some of you will have seen some of the videos earlier. And we've got amazing couples and friends like Hirul and Vishal, Ravi and Shushma, Vish and Nish, Pooja and Vijay, Reena, Sunny, Asta, Tushar, Hina, and Nilesh online with many of them with their families. And I've had lots of lovely pictures from you, and you're all geared up, ready for doing your vision boards. We've got friends like Tozin, Anya, Divya, Krish, Tasneen, and Samina. And siblings, my sister, Marla, nephews, nieces, loads of them. I'll name a few: Amit, Alicia, Jaya, Selena, Vikas, Ash, Nisha, Neha, Vikas, I said him, Jay, Mithil, Nikita, and Natasha, who are also joining. And influencers like Zamina, Kalbir, Vimi, Varun, Pranav, Abhi, Rui, Kamal, and Gurjit are also joined us. And amazing friends like Nav and Marcus, Rita, and Jeff as well. And community champions, Kalpana, Bunty, Pana, Anita, Notta. And age-old friends that some I haven't seen for a little while: Rhonda, Steve, Giovanni, Lena, Sina and Sundip, Daljit, Manjit, Singita and Thuran, Gerd and Tina. And seminar friends go back to the Yes groups at James, Karen, Ashani. And obviously Kashbu, our wonderful friend, and the Siddhar family in their droves, and the Sharma family as well. These are just some of the people that are online, as well as so many new people that are going to become our friends going forward. So one of the things I want you to do is use Zoom. Want you to, when you hear something great, use the reactions. Does everyone know how to use that? At the bottom of your screen, if you look, you've got participants, chat, share screen, and you've got reactions. So if you like something, can we just test that out right now? And please, please, if you turn your cameras on, you're interactive, you're going to be engaged. Treat this like a live seminar, which is what this is, so that we can see you, you can see us, you're going to be far more engaged. Yeah? So just use the reactions. Let's thumbs up. Fab.
Great.
There you go.
That's excellent.
Brilliant. And Tushar as well. I've just seen Tushar online as well. And as I see people, I'll call you guys out. There's so many people that are great friends. So let me ask you a question right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you want to take your life on, you're raring to go, that's 10. That's like you're up for it right now. And 1 is kind of like, you know what, it's Sunday morning, I wish I was still in bed. Oh, Mum dragged me out to go on this webinar thing. I wonder what it's about. Oh, gosh. 10, 10, 10, 8, 10.
Wow,
Seriously?
fantastic.
Really? Okay.
11.
Fab.
Amazing.
That's
Wow.
incredible. So this,
Well, someone said
it's working.
100. Excellent.
There's a few 5s and 7s and stuff like that. Anyway, we've got loads of stuff in store. Wherever you are, let me tell you, by the time we finish today, you're going to be a 10 plus for sure. Okay. Anita, any more thoughts whilst?
No, we're just ready to go, I think.
Okay, countries.
Absolutely
Actually,
ready
let's
to
do
go.
countries.
Countries, yes. Where are they from?
We might have people from other countries, like Wales, for example. Will we have access to the recording? Yes, hopefully. We're working on it. South Wales, England, America, Basildon. Gosh, this is so fast. Ireland,
South Africa.
Brum, Canada, Essex. Oh, there's
Mauritius as well.
London, Manchester,
Germany.
Germany,
Just,
Australia.
Whoa.
North London, Abu Dhabi,
Loughton, Watford, London.
Ireland.
Oh, this is incredible. Madagascar.
That is amazing. Scotland, Thailand. Okay, so you can see the reach that we have had
Canada.
with this event.
Oh, sorry.
So let me,
Belgium as well.
Belgium. Okay, they're barking. Lots of Londons. Heathrow. Fabulous.
Excellent.
Good, good.
Amazing.
Okay, I'm just looking at make sure we've covered all of that. Right, we're going to now, let's go to the next slide, darling. So we're going to be hosting this event today, Anita and I. This is our very first, obviously, online event. So please, in advance, if we make any mistakes or things mess up as they did right at the very beginning, then please forgive us in advance because this is incredible new technology that we're trying out. So we've worked out who's on Zoom. So let's look at the plan for today. So 10 till 1 o'clock is goal setting. And the reason that we don't go straight into our vision board is that the vision board is very different. After we've finished with you for the first 3 hours, your vision board is going to look a lot different to if you started doing your vision board right now. Because I know some people sometimes say, oh, come on, what's all this? I want to do my vision board. I know where I want to go. And what I'm going to urge you to do is have a look. We're going to take you through an amazing process that's going to get you to really think clearly and carefully about what your life purpose is and where you really want to be in your life 5, 10, 20, 30 years' time. So the goal setting session will go from 10 till 1 o'clock. And there will be a break in between for you to have a comfort break. And then from 1 till 2:30, we're going to be doing the vision board. So that gives you an hour and a half to start your vision boards. Now, for many of you, you won't be able to finish your vision boards in that time, but you'll make a very good start on your vision boards. And that will give you time to have a bite to eat at the same time, so you'll be eating and making your vision boards at the same time. Now, the most important part of today is planning. So what part of today is most important? So you want to get on your keyboards? I just want to check that you're listening. The most important part today is the third part, and it's planning. Because you can have all of the great ideas, you can have the greatest vision boards, but it's the planning that's going to get you to the end. So please make sure that at 2:30 you come back online, and we're going to take you through a really powerful process to make sure that those goals and that vision board that you've created or in the process of creating, it turns into your reality. And that's a huge part that we want you to make sure that you come back for. And at 4 o'clock, we will end the session and leave you in a really powerful place to go and really hit 2021. So, let's get in the zone. Now, what I'd like you to do, we're going to play a little bit of music in a second. And thank you for those of you who've switched your cameras on. It's really great. I'm looking around and seeing all these wonderful people. Actually, can you just wave at me, please? I just want to see you wave. That's it. Fab. Thank you. This is all energy because it's kind of strange, we're used to live events where you've got the audience. So you're participating with me, and to keep me inspired and invigorated and also you engaged, I want to make sure that we are staying active. I know I spend, as many of you do, so much time on Zoom and in front of our screens. And again, on a Sunday, you're going to do it again, but we're going to do it in a very different way. So let's get in the zone. So what I'd like you to do is to close your eyes, because you're all in different places and everything. It's great to see so many families here, by the way. It's fantastic. Well done for those parents who've really enrolled their children in coming to this event. So just close your eyes right now. We're going to play a little bit of music. And take a deep breath in and out. In and out. And just get present to yourself. Forget everything around you just for a few moments. And just get present to your breathing. Get present to you, because today we're going to be working on you. And as you take a deep breath in and out, just start to feel your body relax. Just start to feel your mind start to empty. Start to feel your muscles relax. Go into your mind right now and just feel your body relax, your brain, your head, anything that was going on. It's okay. We'll take care of all of that at 4 o'clock. Right now, it's time for you to focus on you. Because ultimately, your destiny is in your hands. And today, you've taken the time to invest in yourself. And as you breathe in and out, you start to feel a sense of certainty, a sense of happiness, a sense of gratitude for everything that you have. Breathe in and out. And just feel your mind emptying. Because today we're going to refill it with some amazing information, thoughts and ideas that you're going to generate in a way that you've never done before. So as you keep breathing in and out, start feeling a sense of energy start rising from your feet, through your legs, to your thighs, to your abdomen, through your stomach, your chest, through your neck, and into your head, your face. You start feeling yourself smile with certainty. That's right. Just smile. No one's watching. And as you continue to breathe, your energy levels are now rising and rising, ready to take on today's challenge. Today, you've invested in yourself. And today, you're going to play full out. You can feel that certainty. Clench your fist and give yourself that level of yes, yes. I'm up for transformation. I'm up for my life. I'm up for an incredible 21. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. You're going to open your eyes in a moment when I count to 3. Refreshed and ready to go. Everything that you thought about before is going to disappear and your energy levels are going to be through the roof. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. When When you're ready, open your eyes and we will begin. Okay. How is everyone? How was that? Let's have some reactions on the screen. If you want to do a thumbs up, you can do a thumbs up. Sorry, I'm looking at the screens as I'm talking. Yes, that's it. Fabulous. Brilliant. Getting all the comments as well, which I can see just on to my left. It's brilliant. So, let's talk about some stuff now. Let's get into the material. So, just have a think. We had high hopes for 2020. I know in 2019, many of us, we were dreaming of so many things. 2020 vision. I remember 20 years ago thinking 2020 vision, that's going to be an incredible year. There were weddings arranged, there were parties, celebrations. People were up for new things. And then suddenly, our lives were about to change. Suddenly, we had this rumbling of this thing called COVID-19. And we didn't realize that it was going to change our lives forever. It was going to transform our lives in a way that we could never imagine. And today, part of what I want to talk about is what we're going to do with what we find ourselves with. And many of us have this thought around, the world response. What do the governments have done? We've got opinions and views about, our governments around the world. They shoulda, coulda, woulda. We've got so many views, thoughts and ideas about that. And today, we're going to put that to one side. Because today, this is about what is your response to everything that you've faced in 2020 and what you're going to be facing in 2021. Because it's down to you. It really is down to you. How are you going to respond to everything that you see, that you find, and that you experience? Because let's not trivialize it. This is one of the biggest pandemics the world has ever seen. And we have gone through so much. And I do not want to trivialize the amount of pain, suffering, and sorrow that people have had. We've lost many loved ones through this time, and we're still going through the eye of that storm. We really are. But the question is, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with what the circumstances and the situation we find ourselves in? And how are we going to make 2021 versus 2020? What are we going to do differently? How are we going to cope? How are we going to thrive through 2021 rather than survive? So what I want us to think about is what can you control versus what you can't control. Because it's so easy, as I said earlier, to think about the government's response. They should be doing this, they should be doing that. And many of us, I know, will have gone onto our social media and made comments and thoughts and ideas. To a large extent, we have limited control over what happens to the outside world. But we do have an incredible control of what goes on up here. And that's what we're going to focus on today. And what if we could reframe 2020? What if we could think about the things that happened to us in 2020? How could we relate all those things so that when we look in 2030, we can say to ourselves, it's not in spite of the things that happened to us, all those terrible, crazy things, that we have the life that we have in 2030. But it's because of those things. It's because of those things. And that's what I want to think about, because there'll be many, many people that will... let me just touch this screen so I can get you back. So there'll be many, many people we know. Have a think. In 2030, there'll be those that will still be recovering from what happened in 2020, despite loss, tragedy, losing businesses, losing loved ones, having to reorganize one's life, and so on. And there'll be those that in 2030 will have the most incredible lives despite or because of the things that have happened to them. And that's what I want us to think about now and today, is how can we turn everything that's happened so far and the things that are going to happen to us, look at what we can control, and ensure that when we hit 2030, we look back and say, these are the decisions that I made about my life and the direction of travel. And I'm going to use everything that's happened to power me forward to have the life that I want and I deserve. And we're going to take you through a whole process around that. So, hopefully you've got your workbooks. If you haven't, that's okay. Just make sure you've got some paper and some pen. I'm going to give you a few seconds to go and grab that. If you've got your workbooks that were sent to you, do you want to just wave them so we can see that you've got your workbooks? Let's look at the screens. Yeah, most of you have. If you want to do it on your laptops, you can. And if you want to do it on your screen, just on a piece of paper, that's fine as well. So let me just check in right now. How are you doing? You doing good? So what I'd like you to do before we get into the next bit, if you get any thoughts, any ideas, anything that comes up in your mind and you want to share that, share it. Because what will happen is people will be reading your comments and they'll be inspired by what you're receiving, what you're giving out to them and what they're receiving in terms of insights, knowledge, breakthroughs, those aha moments. If you take a few seconds to type them up, you will make a huge difference to others, because what you'll do is you'll inspire their breakthroughs as well. So what I want you to do, we're going to do an exercise now where you're going to look at what were your achievements in 2020. We're going to get you focused on what did you achieve, because for most of us, we have spent most of our time spending our time thinking about all the bad things that happened, all the things that should not have happened, the events that we had to give up, the parties that we were supposed to go to, the friends that we were supposed to see, loved ones that we haven't seen for months and months, and those that are recovering or not well from COVID-19. So write down now, what were your achievements? You've got notes section in your book. I don't think there's a section specifically for this. Is it? No. So in your notes section, which I think is somewhere, we've got a notes section anywhere? Nope, we haven't. Okay. So just get a piece of paper and write down, or write on the back somewhere, what were your achievements? And they don't have to be big, guys. It doesn't have to be, I made £1 million. It could be, I created a relationship. It could be, I reached out, I did a homeless bag drop. I created some food baskets. I made a new friend. Started a new job. I learned a new skill. Because so many of you have done things differently. 2020 has allowed you an opportunity to spend more time with your families, to be in the gardens, enjoy the places that you live in, have lunches and dinners at home. There are so many things to celebrate in 2020, and I want to get you focused on how great your life already is. Wow, I'm just reading some of the things there. Charity work, focused on health. My wife and I came together, climbed Mount Snowdon, relationships became stronger, my career grew. I set up a coaching business, I changed my business model. I was able to look at my character, my defects. I graduated, I played football, bought my first home. I'm trying to keep up with this. I made 15K in 2 months, founded a new charity, I went to university. I'm alive, healthy, more time with family. I walked, oh, that's gone. I had cold showers, okay. I changed my weight, I graduated, bonded with my family, adapted my business, elected a new leader for my account. I was elected as leader. Kept my home COVID-free. I raised money, learnt a language, reconnected, went on a long walks, discovered nature. How many of us did that? Gosh, the amount I've walked over the last few months is incredible. Attending this program, okay, thank you. I became a radio presenter. You guys are incredible, by the way. Absolutely awesome. I just want to acknowledge that. The amount of participation is just breathtaking. You guys are absolutely up for transforming your lives throughout the course of the day. Anita, I can't wait to continue to work with you. Fab. Look down there as well. Okay. Loads and loads. connected my family, created my dreams school, okay, created my first book. How many of us wrote a book? Completed a recipe book, loads and loads, presented programs, gave birth in lockdown. Okay, so have a think. How do you feel right now? Because as a society, as a nation, as a planet, we become focused and obsessed with what's wrong, especially during these times. How do you feel right now when you see the amount of achievement that's happened? Just have a think, and maybe write it down. And if you're in a group, just share with your family around you. Just share with, just going to give you a couple of minutes just to write down, how do you feel right now, having focused on what you've achieved versus everything else that's going on right now. You know, you switch the news on, it's this and it's that, and it's doom and gloom, and it's all terrible, right? Not taking away where we are, but for a moment, you just focus on what you've achieved. So just give you about a minute, share with the people around you, or share with yourself, or text a friend or something, just communicate with yourself or someone. So what I'm going to do is I want to now move on to, thank you for everyone who's giving Roshan his acknowledgements, which he deserves. So we're going to ask you to close your eyes once more. So we're going to take you through an exercise for you to think about some things. So if you all close your eyes. I want you to imagine right now that you've walked to your kitchen, and you are now walking into your kitchen. You see your fridge, and just imagine if you all got your eyes closed, that'd be fab. And you're going to open your fridge, and you see this juicy yellow lemon. And you grab the lemon, you can feel the coldness in your hand. You take it to one of your worktops, you grab a chopping board and a really sharp knife. You slice that lemon in half. You grab that lemon, or one half of it, in your hand, and you open your mouth, and you now squeeze that lemon into your mouth. You can feel the juices now going into your mouth. You can feel, yeah, there you go, that's it. Now, just for good measure, you get the lemon right into your mouth, and you start sucking out the pulp into that lemon. You can feel it in your mouth right now. Yeah. Can you feel it? Yep, I can see it from your faces. Okay. That's fine, that's enough torture for now. Open your eyes. So, where was the lemon? Where was the lemon? In your mind, right? There was no lemon. There was no lemon in the room. What happened, though? How many of you, raise your hands, how many of you started to salivate? How many of you started to have sensations in your body? Yeah. Okay. But there was no lemon. So, what are we saying here? Is that just by the mere thought of the fact that you were imagining that you went to your kitchen and that you were squeezing this lemon in your mouth, created these crazy reactions in your body. And my point here is that if you can do that with a very simple exercise of the lemon, and you were salivating, you were grimacing, you were feeling these sensations from just imagining something that someone had asked you to imagine just for a few seconds. What are the things that you're telling yourself, you're scaring yourself, all the body sensations you're having that you need to start to now manage and control? That was a simple exercise. Does everyone follow? Yep. Okay, good. Give me a reaction. Fab. So, as you think, so shall you feel, as you will act, which will cause the results that you want. So today, it's about how are we going to think that are going to create those feelings, that are going to give us those actions, that are going to give us the outcomes that we actually want. And when we think about that, let's have a look at when we have those thoughts. So if we have negative thoughts, what are we going to do? We're going to not want to get out of bed. We're not going to want to do things. But when we have those incredible thoughts, I can do this. This is what my life's about. This is my purpose. These are my goals. This is my destiny. This is what I deserve. This is what's designed for me. This is what I've designed for my life. You then create the fuel that will propel you forward. And that's the point of my conversation. The fuel that will propel you forward. And you can see there are those that are always fueled up, ready to go. And there are those who run half empty. And there are those who run quite empty in their life, constantly empty. How many of you know people that are always fueled up? They're like rockets, raring to go. Doesn't matter how much things they've got on the go. They are always raring to go, right? You think, you say to them, where do you get your energy from? Yeah, you've got people like that in your life, right? They drive you crazy because they just don't seem to tire. Why is that? That's because the thinking, the feeling, the actions, and the results they're producing, it's a cycle. Yeah, and we're going to talk later about your goals and your purpose and your why. And when you have all of that really, really clear in your head, then that's the fuel that will propel you forward. You do not want to be that person whose their tank is always empty, always searching to get that energy to do things. Can people relate to that? Yeah, you know people on both ends, in the middle, and so on. So where do you want to be? Yeah, where do you want to be? Just have a think. So have a think now that if you was to move yourself just 1 degree. So imagine I'm an aeroplane, right? And this is where I'm going to be ending up. This is my destination right now. Before I came on this seminar, this is where I was going. And through the course of today, I decide that I'm going to change my course of direction just by 1 degree. Right, just 1 degree. Where do you think your life will be in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years? Just by that one idea, that one thought. Forget 5, 10, 15 different ideas and different thoughts. Where do you think you'll be? Have a think. So if you're with people in your room, just have a quick share with the people in your room, or write down on the chat where you think you'll be, and write down in your notebook. If just by 1 degree, just want you to speculate right now. Just 1 degree change, whether that's your health, your relationships, your career, your emotional, your physical goals, whatever that is. Just you made one little change. Where do you think you could be in a lifetime? Somewhere amazing, right? On top of my goals. Much better where I'm currently. So maybe it's not just about big goals. It's not just about big things. What if you just change small things? What would that mean? Just reflect. What would that mean? Because sometimes, you know what, we say, oh, I haven't got time, and we're going to talk about this later, but I haven't got time to go to the gym for an hour. So you don't go at all. What if you did 5 minutes? What if you just did 5 minutes on the floor just doing some press-ups or some sit-ups or something like that? What if you just did 5 minutes of reading rather than half an hour? It just keeps you going. That 5 minutes will be the thing, that 1%, that 1 degree that will keep you going. Okay? So just write down some comments of where you are right now, some thoughts that you might have, just for a few seconds, so people can see the kind of things that are going through your mind right now. An example of compounding. Yep, we're going to talk about that later on. That 1% that compounds. It's very powerful. Consistency is key. Okay. So, I want to just share a little bit about me and how I've got to be standing here in front of you today. And let me ask you, and the reason I'm going to share a bit of my story, some of you will have heard this before, but hopefully you'll hear something new for those of you who've been on a number of our events. The reason I share it is because I want you to maybe relate to the person who ends up in front of you, that person you think is successful. They've gone through their own journey, and I want to share some of that journey with you that you can relate to some of it, or you can get some cues and clues for your own life. So my story. So I was born in 1966, as you can see from the screen, and my plan is to live to 2086. That's 120 years. You know, why not? Why not try to design your life the way that you'd like it? Remember that thing about, with goals and the vision that we're going to talk about, is just make it up and then go for it. But what do you think is the most important part of that date. You can put it onto the screen. What's the most important part? Put in your comments. Is it 1966? Is it 2086? What's the most important part? Is it when you're born? Is it when you die? Okay. Yep. So, some great answers there. They're all correct, but the one I want to focus you on right now is the dash. It's what you do between when you were born to when you draw your last breath. That's the most important, is the dash. And that's the bit that we're going to focus on today, and this is the bit that I urge you to think about. And so I want to take you from the 1966 bit to current, and obviously we'll share more about the future as well. So I want to take you back to 1966, and we're going to show you where I was born. So I was born in India, in a town called Moga. Some of you will know it. Some of you may even have been born there. If you were born there, or you've been there, do you want to just put that onto the chat? I'd love to know those of you who have been to my hometown. I'm very passionate about my hometown, and at some point in the future, we are going to be releasing a video of me going back to my hometown and having an incredibly emotional journey of discovery, of finding out some of my roots. And it was a very powerful and awesome experience. So that was the humble beginnings. And this is a picture of me. I think I'm the one standing on the chair with a big smile on their face, which I'm really pleased about, because that's how I try to live my life, with a smile. And, you know, one of the key things is that at that age, you know, I was kind of that wholesome person that hadn't had the life experiences, that had everything possible going for them, potentially, despite, obviously, the humble beginnings. But this was a person that could be molded and shaped. And then life happens. And then we came to the UK at the age of 4, a family of 10. And this is my earliest picture in the UK. This was me in nursery at the age of 4 years old. So, and then we moved into this house in Basildon, Essex. And, you know, the first 7 years was tough. Living in the 70s. How many of you went through the 70s? Yeah. So if you were a little brown boy like me, it would have been tough, because, you know, there were not many brown people around at that time, and living in Basildon, it was difficult, and lots of things happened over those 7 years. First of all, we had very little. We lived in this house, a family of 10, and, you know, we had to do without a lot of things, because you can imagine my dad worked as a bus conductor, my mum worked in a factory, lots of mouths to feed, and, you know, lots of children to look after. But, you know, what I can absolutely say is that I had an incredible upbringing, despite some of the challenges and some of the issues and the traumas and the dramas that obviously everyone has in life. But I want to pull out a few, because I want you to think about your own beliefs and limiting beliefs and the things that have happened to you in your life that shape you to who you are today. Because, as I said, that early picture of me that you saw, and then the picture that's standing here, I've gone through, as we all have, through loads of things. And for the young people that are on this Zoom, I want to make sure that you have the skills and the ideas and the qualities that I had to spend years and years and years developing. So I'll tell you a few things that happened that have shaped my life. So the first thing was, it was choir. I was 5 years old. And they were picking people that were going to be in the choir. So we were all in a group, and we all had to sing a song. And the teacher was picking the people out that couldn't sing. So she said, John, step aside. Mary, step aside. And I was singing like crazy, like trying to make sure that, because I loved singing, that I was picked for the choir. I was doing my best. I was, you know, giving it my all. And the finger came across and pointed to me. And it was kind of like, when I look back, and when you kind of do that navel gazing when you're in events like this, and she said, Avnish. And that was it. I was doomed. I had to step aside. And from that moment, I created a label for myself. Avnish can't sing. So that was one of the first things. And, over the years, some of my very close friends will know some of the impact on that. We were in a big event, and have a guess what? We pick out these things. So we were doing this family forum, as we used to call it. And we had all these acts to do. And what is the act that I had? And I've got Ravi and Shrishma on the line there now. They were the ones that I can see them there. Have a guess which is the one that I pulled out? Sing a song. Doesn't it happen? The thing that you fear the most is the thing that life confronts you with again and again and again. And you know what I did with the paper? I put it in my mouth like chewing it because I was that terrified. I did not want to show myself up because I have a label, I can't sing, because I got that at the age of 5. Okay? And I've got lots of proof for it, because what happens when you make that decision, you create the proof. And then, when I was 7, and there's a picture I pulled out from the internet, there's me on the left-hand side. So we're in country dancing, and the teacher said, pick your partners, everyone. We're going to do this thing called country dancing. So boys and girls, pick a boy, pick a girl. And so everyone ran to pick the opposite sex, their partner. And I just stood and froze. Because all the things I thought about myself, I'm different, I'm odd, I'm the odd one out. So I just froze. And the only other person that was left was a girl called Tracy. Tracy Knight. And still remember the name, can you believe it? And the teacher said, Avnish, Tracy, you need to be partners. To which she immediately went, ugh, really loudly. Now, I didn't think that much of it after that, obviously. As a kid, you just get on with life. But little did I know, when I was sitting in a seminar like this, 40 years on, and I was asked, go back to that first moment you thought there was something wrong about yourself. And look back, this is one of the things that came up. And I realized that girl, by just saying that, the meaning that I gave that was there was absolutely, definitely something wrong with me. She confirmed all the things that I was building up about myself, she confirmed it. And my whole relationship to the opposite sex, to girls, changed in a way that has impacted me for years. And it's crazy, because none of it's true. But it's a decision I made, and despite what people tell me, like, you're great, you're amazing, you're good looking, you're handsome, blah, 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 it didn't matter. Because this girl called Tracy at the age of 7 had told me, ugh. And as far as I was concerned, that was now running my life. So can you relate to this? Yeah, madness, but we all do it, right? So our job today is to look at some of those things and discover some of those limiting beliefs that you have created, I've created, that limit what's possible. Because they're all made up, okay? Now, of course, I can't be a basket player. I can't be a world-class basketball player, of course. But there's so many things that I can do that I've limited myself because of decisions I made when I was young. So let me tell you some positive beliefs as well, because it's not just limiting beliefs that you have that are negative, right? So what you do is you get some negative belief systems that get set up, and you move away from them. And then positive ones that come up. People reinforce some good behaviors, and then that excels you forward. So when I was about 6 years old, between 5 and 6, my teacher, Mrs. Maguti, her name was, she asked me to stand up. And I stood up. I had no idea what she was going to say, but this is what she said. This is what I remember. She said, class, I want to just tell you, this is Avnish, or Avnish, depending on how you want to say it. She probably said Avnish. She said he's been in the country only a year. He's come from India, and his English and his maths is so much better than all of you. And, at that time, I was whizzing ahead. I was being home tutored in those days. So young people in the room, yeah, I know many of you are being home tutored. This has been going on for decades. I was being home tutored by my older sister. And so when I went to school, have a guess what? I was way ahead of the kids. I was whizzing through the books. I was whizzing through everything. And she wanted to acknowledge that in front of the whole class. And it felt good, right? And I didn't get beaten up for that, right? I got beaten up many other times after, in future life, but, the kids kind of were okay for that period. But a few years later, I was in the playground. So obviously I was excelling at school. I was in the playground, and the young people won't remember this, but how many of the older lot remember the Tefal advert, the boffins? Yeah, remember that, the advert? So I was in the playground, and the kids, my friends, were shouting, "Boffin, boffin, boffin." And I thought, that sounds like a compliment, because boffin means kind of clever, it means kind of techie, whizzy, and all the rest of it. But they don't seem to be saying it in a way that's kind of like a compliment. So I was really confused for a few seconds until I realized they're actually taunting me. So being clever, being intelligent, being academic, rather, to be precise, because I was doing well at school, was something they were teasing me about. And I was like, hang on, this is bizarre. Why are they teasing me for something that's supposed to be good, right? Because, your parents want you to do well, yet your classmates don't like it. So what happens? You start then creating beliefs about the things you're good at. And a good friend of mine a few weeks ago said something to me, and I've repeated this over and over again, and that is, hidden talent is no talent. So if you've got notebooks, write this down. Oh my God, when I heard this is so, so important. Hidden talent is no talent. Sounds harsh, doesn't it? Hidden talent is no talent. But how true is it? If you've got a gift, if you've got something to show the world, if you're good at something, and you keep it inside of you, just because you're worried about what the world will think, what's the use of that? How many of you can relate to that? How many of you know that you've got something, that you're good at something? Yet the world, in your mind, in your belief, someone told you something bad about the gift that you have. And now you've decided, all by yourself, you know what, time to shut that thing down, time to play a small game. Yeah? Lots of hands going up. So today, it's time to get that talent from being hidden to being out there. Because there's no point getting to your deathbed or that rocking chair scenario that we're going to talk about and having all this potential. What I used to say to my children over the years was, make sure that potential that you have doesn't stay as potential, because that'll be one of the biggest frustrations that you'll have in life. That potential that you had, that you knew that you could do something way beyond where you are right now, you kept it as potential because of your belief systems that you'd set up. Let me tell you some more belief systems. Cheese. Well, what's cheese got to do anything? So, went to a new school in Romford. So 7 years later, we moved to a school in Romford. And this was a kind of a weird school. Anybody live in Romford? This was Crownfield's junior school. And I was a vegetarian. So what ended up was that I had to eat school dinners. And they'd give me a plate of cheese every single day, a plate of cheese, because they thought, he's vegetarian, that's weird, we don't know any vegetarians eat cheese, plate of grated cheese. And in that school, there's a rule that said you had to eat everything on your plate. So can you imagine, after day one, I could not eat any more cheese. So I thought it'd be clever. So I got my mum to make me some sandwiches, brought the sandwiches to the dining hall. So when everyone was eating their food, their lunch, and the cheese came, I thought, hey, I'll eat my sandwiches. The moment I started unwrapping the foil, one of the dinner ladies, as we called them in those days, came running over and said, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" I thought, it's a bit silly, because it's obvious what I'm doing. I'm eating my sandwiches. Why would I want to eat this plate of cheese? But anyway, she had different ideas. So she asked me to stand up, which I did. She said, right, we're going to take you to the headmistress's office, as we called it then. So I was really confused. What? What have I done? So anyway, she marched me to the headmistress's office. Mrs. Bentley, her name was. And the dinner lady explained to Mrs. Bentley what had happened. And Mrs. Bentley looked at me and went right close to my face and said, "Who do you think you are?" And I was like, absolutely, I was like you just don't know what to think. And he said, again, who do you think you are? In this school, you do not have packed lunches. You need to go home for lunch or eat what we give you. So after that time, they weren't going to give me anything but cheese, so I used to run home. It was half an hour to get home, half an hour back. So I'd literally run home, wolf down some food, and run back to school. Now, nowadays, there'll be a safeguarding or something. Somebody would say something. And I know Anita Notter's part of the audience. She's a head teacher in Wolverhampton, an amazing head teacher. And I'm sure you're grimacing at how head teachers were in those days. But that was in the 70s, right? And, but the more important part is someone saying, who do you think you are? What impact that could have had. Now, the question is, what am I going to do about that now? Now that I know that, what am I going to do? And that's what I urge each and every one of you. The reason I'm telling you these stories is what are you going to do about the fact that you're probably looking in your own life of the things that decisions you made because something happened. Now's the time to choose some other decision that you made then that's not empowering you, that's keeping your talents hidden. And as we said earlier, hidden talents are no talent. And time now for you to expose your talents to the world. The world deserves your talents. Let me tell you one final thing. Bullying. 70s was tough. Okay? Bullying was rampant and rife. And there was no such thing as anti-bullying campaigns in those days. You got beaten up, you just bared it. And in those days, I don't know if the older generation can relate to me. I didn't go home and tell my mum or my parents. I thought, what can they do? So I just took it and took it. And, part of the Asian culture, and there are lots of cultures in the room, but part of the Asian culture is to turn the other cheek. My mum used to say to me, be peaceful, turn the other cheek, walk away. And what I found was it didn't work. Those strategies didn't work. And they just saw that as weak. Till one day, I decided to stand up for myself. And that was an incredible day. I had no idea. There was a bully that was bullying me. And something inside me said, no longer will I take this. And I stood up to the bully. I was terrified. I had no idea what I was doing. I just did it. I just snapped. And I went up to him and I said, stop it. And that level of certainty that I never had before, and I looked up at him into his eyes. I went up close. I was just fed up. That point, that breaking point that one has to reach sometimes. And I looked up and said, stop it. Inside, I was trembling like a leaf. And he looked at me and he went, what are you going to do about it? And I said, just try it. Somehow I knew that I had to keep looking at him and I must not stop, however terrified I was. I could see in his eyes a level of uncertainty. And as he grew more uncertain, the more my certainty grew. Inside, my heart was still racing. I was sweating. I thought he was going to thump me at one point. And I started seeing him back off. And he said some other stuff, and I just carried on with my certainty of, you just try it. And literally, within a few seconds, he walked away, muttering something under his breath. And after that, he never, ever bothered me again. That's what I learned. I learned each time to make sure that whenever I was bullied, I stood up for myself. Okay? So just have a think about in your life where you're being bullied right now. Maybe, if you are. What's your response and reaction to that? Nowadays, there's so many things that one can do. In those days, you had to kind of take it in your own hands. That had a huge impact on me. So, have a think about all the things I've said so far. I'm going to have a quick drink of water, and then we're going to start next. And if you've got some thoughts and ideas, get them in the comments. How you're feeling. And if you're in a group, share them with the group. And we'll come back in 30 seconds after I've had some water. So let me have a read of this. So lots of stuff coming up on the screen. So Divya was saying that her son was inspired when he was being bullied at school. Someone else was bullied at school for being clever. My child was similar, incredibly emotional. Thank you for sharing your personal story. Make it happen. Ignored them. Didn't make any impact. Yeah. So one of the key things is that, we're all unique. We all have a unique reason to be on this planet, but in so many ways we're also similar. And what I've learned over the last 20 odd years is the more you share of yourself, the more of an impact you have on yourself and others. And we've created a society where we go through life with so many of these difficulties, challenges, and so on. We don't talk about it. And then we don't get to share how so many of us have gone through these issues and challenges, and then we don't learn often how to then cope or deal or destroy some of those crazy limiting beliefs that we have. So today for me, it's about sharing my personal story, and it's for you to look at your own, share it with others, and see how you can destroy some of those limiting beliefs that you've created in your own life. I'm going to do a little bit of time check to make sure. Okay. So now I want to share some more of my life. So at the age of 11, we bought our shop. Our first shop. I was 11 years old, and this was in Marlborough Road in Romford. How many of you live in Essex? Let's have a... How many of you love Essex? I love Essex. Yay. Brilliant. So my life was about to change massively from that age, because this is where I was thrust into the world of business, into turnover, gross profit margin, VAT, tax, etc., etc. Going to the cash and carry, starting to do paper rounds at the age of 11. Can you believe it? 11 young people in the room. I was doing a paper round at the age of 11. I know if my sisters are in the audience, you know, they were also doing paper rounds at even younger age, because obviously they were younger than me, the two of them. You know, young people, would you do a paper round at the age of 11? Now they'd call it child labor, right? There'd be laws against that. But in those days, anyway, I'm just teasing, but, you know, we were doing that. One of the things that I got to see, I was being molded into who I am today, and I'll share some more with the person that's standing in front of you was starting to be formed from when my family and my brother, my dad, bought this new business, because we all mucked in. We lived at the back of the shop and upstairs, and it was open from 6 a.m. till 9, 10 o'clock at night, open all hours. But one of the things I learned was about standards. I learned about how things should be. And some of those standards, they're kind of small. And when I looked back and I was doing my entrepreneurship seminars, I was thinking, of what is it that caused me to have the kind of mindset that I have? Because one of the things that I'll share later is that, you know, it's about wanting to be the best, wanting to do things right. Where did that come from? And I was looking back, and maybe, you know, the kind of navel gazing, some of the things that I'm doing now, many of you probably having those conversations in your own mind. And I look back and I thought the first time I learned about standards when my mum asked me to arrange the crisps in the shop. In this shop that you can see there. Not yet. Anita's doing my clicking for me, so I'm making sure she does it at the right time. So sorry about that. You've got a sneak preview there. And she asked me to arrange the crisps. And you should know the answer now. But I had all these crisps. I had all the different flavors, the cheese and onion, the red assorted, the salt and vinegar, and prawn cocktail or smoky bacon, as you'll see on this screen. And I was just chucking them in. And she ran over to me and she said, son, in Punjabi, of course, stop. She said, what are you doing? I said, Mum, I'm arranging the crisps. She said, no, son, you don't do it that way. And so she arranged the crisps in a certain order, which now Anita's going to show you, like this. Because what I'd done, I'd put the cheese and onion next to the salt and vinegar, and I put the ready salted next to the smoky bacon. She said, son, you don't do it like that. And I was like, Mum, because I had to rearrange. Can you imagine? I'm an 11-year-old, right? I've now got to take all of them back out and rearrange them. Now, an 11-year-old does not want to do that, right? 11-year-olds in the room? You know the feeling, right? When your parents ask you something that you think you've already done to what you think is a great standard, right? And now you've got to do it all over again. I was like, Mum, why? And she said, because, son, look, can you see? Can any of you see why? Can quickly somebody type up why they think that my mum made me rearrange them in that order, not putting the cheese and onion next to the salt and vinegar and the ready salted next to the smoky bacon. Yeah, it's the colours. It wasn't the alphabet. It wasn't in alphabetical order. That's quite funny, quite interesting. It was the colours. Because she said, son, and my mum isn't formally educated, right? She never went to school. However, I tell you what, you know, take that to one side. The amount of emotional intelligence my mum has is incredible. and hopefully if my mum is watching, I don't know if my mum is watching, is, hi mum, I'm very proud of you. And this is what she made me do. She said, put them in this order, plump them out. So I had to put them in lines, and I had to make them, pull them all apart to one side and make them look big. She said, look, if they look big, people are going to want to buy them because they'll see there's loads of crisps in them, not flat. I was like pushing them in and all sorts. And I got to see that first time that I learned about standards, and I got it. I didn't want to get it. Young people, you know your parents are telling you things that you know are right? But you think, it's just, you don't want to do it, right? But I knew she was right. And that kind of set me off on kind of, when I look back, seeing the standards and the things that I've done. And I'll share more in a moment about that. So that was, raise your standards is what I'm saying. Whatever standard you're operating at, the next level will require a little bit more work. It will require more effort, more thought, more being present. But what it will yield you long term is incredible. That 1% thing that I was telling you about. If you raise your standards by 1% year on year, just imagine where you'll be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years' time. And my mum wanted me to be a doctor. She said, son, be a doctor because, how many of you young people are being asked to be doctors, accountants, lawyers, these wonderful professions? Yeah. She wanted me to be a doctor because, I love this picture. She wanted me to be a superhero. Her view was that you be a doctor, you can save people, and we can make sure the family never be ill. Because we'd had my older brother passed away in India when I was 3 years old, which is part of why we came to the UK in the first place. We were trying to come here so we could get him better. Quite an emotional story. And my mum, to this day, she talks about my oldest brother with a huge amount of fondness and a lot of sadness that there was nothing that we could do, she could do, the family could do to save his life. And they went backwards from Kenya to India, trying to work out how they could improve his health. And so for her, for someone in the family to be a doctor, they could be that superhero that could always make sure that we got the best healthcare and treatment. But I didn't get in. I didn't know, apart from my mum's passion for wanting me to do it, and I wanted to please her. She said, you've got the academic ability to do it, and I wanted to please her. But I didn't get in. And that was, at that time, failure. I hadn't really experienced a lot of failure, and I'd failed at getting in. But one of the key things that I'd say when you look forward in your life, when I look like now back in my life, is how can you fail your way to success? Because there are going to be so many things that you're going to do that you will call failure. When you look back and you go, actually, you know what, that wasn't failure. That was an outcome that led to the life that I have. It's because of that I'm now standing here. It's because of that I've got the children in my life. I've got my wife in my life. I've got everything in my life is because of it, not in spite of it. And I had to fail. Life was teaching me a lesson. How many of you get that? Yeah, if you're not, life is teaching you a lesson. Why would you want to think it any other way? Because when you say, life is teaching me a lesson, what do? You start looking for better answers. Can you see that? You start saying, well, what can I learn from this? Yeah? So, so then what I did, not yet. So what I did, I went off to Newcastle University to study accounting and finance. Someone said to me, look, if you can't be a doctor, then be an accountant. Because when you're an accountant, you can make lots of money, and if you need a doctor, quite genuinely, you'll have enough money, you can have all the doctors you want. And for lots of reasons, we have, not just because of money, but we have amazing friends who are doctors, and family who support all of that. But, it's amazing that one bit of information that I had changed my life. And I think hopefully one of my dear friends, Anshul, is on here. His family helped me make that decision. Incredible. One little decision can change the course of your life. And I'm just hoping, how many decisions will you make today, like the ones I'm telling you, that could really shape your life in the future or accelerate it? And I went off to, then I joined Coopers and Lybrand, as it was then, one of the big four. So very different to when I was trying to do medicine. I had no idea, really. They'd ask me questions, why do you want to be a doctor? You can't say, because my mum said. So you make up something. But, you know, they get it. They get that you don't really know, and I didn't really know my why, my purpose, and they got it, which is why they didn't let me in. You know, I get it now, and they didn't have all the kind of stuff that I know is out there. I know there's a few people on the screen that really help students get into medicine, for example, and other professions. So instead I went off to do accounting at Newcastle University, which was incredible. Wish I had more time to tell you all of those kind of things I learned. But then I went and did accounting and finance. My accounting. I became a chartered accountant, and that was easy. I knew about business. I sailed through I applied to 5 accounting firms. I got 5 first interviews, 5 second interviews. I was getting quite cocky by this stage. I got 3 offers, and I picked Coops and Lybrand in the end. And I did 3 years of accountancy. But, you know, accountancy wasn't for me. I knew it was only a stepping stone. Because my profile, I wanted to create stuff in the future. And one of the things I say to each and every one of you, don't stay stuck. Don't stay in something that it doesn't juice you every day, doesn't inspire you. And so I had to get out. So many friends were envious, like, come on, we haven't got choices, we can't do it, you know, you can. And so what I did, and now I want to show you the car. I sat in this car one day. This is my little XR2i. I was very fortunate. This was, if you, the older lot will know that this was in Essex. If you live in Essex, this was your Ferrari of that time. And I sat in that car, and I had a decision to make. Do I leave? And I did some research around property in Southend. We had these catalogues that used to come in. We had some property at the time, not much, but we had some. We were gently building up our property portfolio as a family. And I went and did some research. All the things I'd learned, I thought, you know what, let me have a think. Let me now use what I've learned and see if I can put that into practice. So I went to see these apartments in Southend. They weren't apartments, they were small flats. Apartments make them sound grander than they were. And what I did was I worked out what the cost was. The guide price is the cost. If I could buy it for this, what the yield would be. Now, can you imagine, I want you to on the screen tell me what kind of yields do you think I was going for? What yields was I achieving when I worked out the numbers? I sat in that car. I'd been to the estate. I've been to see the apartments. I then went to see the estate agents. They told me what the rents would be, and they told me what, obviously, if I sold these apartments and did them up. What kind of yields was I working on? Yeah, 20 to 25%. And I sat in my car and I went, 20 to 25%. Now, interest rates were a lot higher in those days, right? That is incredible. This is a no-brainer. I should definitely leave and do this. Then that little voice inside me, everyone know that little voice? It said, no, it can't be that easy. Can't be that easy. Because if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. Yeah, anyone have that voice? Yeah? So luckily, and I'm really thankful that God gave me this brain that then said, it is that easy, just do it. And literally, that was the conversation in my head. I still remember it, sitting in that car. And I resolved, that's it, I'm doing it. And I never looked back once from that moment. You know, I decided, and those of you who've been on Tony Robbins seminar knows, and other seminars will know, when you decide something, you cut off all other options. And I had. I went back to my family, I said, look, I'm leaving my accountancy firm. And they were like devastated. Like, what? No, you can't. You're a chartered accountant. It's prestigious. And I was like, but I don't enjoy it. I am not staying somewhere for the rest of my life doing something I don't enjoy. So then I spent the next 6 years with the family. We were buying apartments and in Southend and Basildon and all sorts of places, houses. And we built that to a property portfolio of about 100 properties in about 6 years. And it was amazing. You know, I'd have my big fat Lloyds Bank checkbook in my pocket. And we would go to the auctions, and I tell you something, you know, that exhilaration. How many of you have been to auctions? Anybody been to an auction? Raise your hands. I don't know about you, but it was incredible. You know, my heart would be racing, my palms would be sweaty, you know, I'd be waiting to get to that auction lot. Will I get it? Will I not? Will I get it cheap? Blah, blah. And it was incredible. And that was the age of 25. Loved it. But after about 5 years of doing that, you know, financial freedom by then, whatever financial freedom is. I know people say financial freedom, I want financial freedom, right? There's far more in life than you want than just financial freedom, right? But we're going to talk about that in due course. So, but I wanted to grow. And my uncle, I think he's on I think he's here, I saw him earlier. He's been a powerful, powerful influence on me. And he said something to me, and you want to write this down, those of you who've not heard this before. He said, it's not what you have in life that's the most important thing. It's who you become in what you have. It's the journey. You remember we talked about the dash earlier? It's the journey that you have. It's the growth. It's who you become at the end of it, right? You know, you can say, I want £1 million. For what? How many of you know people have got money and are unhealthy, they're unhappy, and all sorts of issues? So it's not the money. It's not saying don't have the money, but make sure you know your why. And he made it clear to me, and he was the first person that introduced me to personal development. Is get your why really clear. And so I knew I wasn't growing as a person. I wanted to grow in a much, much bigger way. And so some very close relatives of mine had opened a care home in South Wales. And when I used to see their care home, I think, wow, this is more than property. These are residents. These are team members, as we now call them, obviously in those days staff. I want to do this. I have no idea how, right? But I'll work out a way. And that's another thing that I want you to take away from this, is you don't need to know the how. You need to know the what you want. We're going to talk about that later. And why you want it. Know your what and know your purpose. The how will come. Okay? And so we bought our first care home, as you can see on the screen. And that was 23 years ago. And I applied all the principles that I applied in the property business, which I forgot to tell you about. You know, when we were doing the properties, we used this CRISP story, the CRISP standard. Some of the people in my teams at work, you know, they've heard this CRISP story many, many times. You know, I applied the same principles with properties. We had the best reputation. We sold our apartments quickly. We rented them out. We had the minimum voids. And I could never understand why people cut corners, why people did things to save a little bit of money but lost the big amounts. How many of you know people in business that they to save a little bit, they lose a lot? And maybe let's think about that for all of our life. Maybe sometimes we don't do that little thing that could give us so much. So again, doing the care homes, you know, I very quickly saw if I applied all the principles that I'd learned since the age of 11 into the care home business, then we'd have a phenomenal business. And I looked around me and I saw people weren't applying those principles, quite frankly. And it was like, wow, this is crazy, but this gives me such a fantastic opportunity. And do you know what? It's so much more fun. It's so much more fun when you visit your homes and your teams love you. They think you're great. When you walk around, when you go to events, you know, you get such a great feeling. And I see these other people that, you know, and somebody's put integrity was out. Yeah, lots of people who live their lives without integrity. You know, integrity is a big, big word and something for another day, but, you know, live your life as much as you can with integrity, as far as you can. So, and over those years, we've grown that property business. And I just want to share with you like a process of, you know, now 23 years on. And unfortunately, this isn't my entrepreneur talk, so I'm going to give you a very quick flavor of some of the things that we do in our property business. We've won lots of awards now for the care home designs, for what we do with our teams and the care that we deliver. And we're constantly progressing to make a bigger and bigger difference and impact the care sector. So what happens? And I was going to take you through a bit of a process about our care homes. We build our care homes now and we operate them. So just give me 2 seconds. So just so you know, the screen on the right keeps disappearing, so I have to go and touch it because it thinks it's not being used. So if we go to the next slide. So one of the things that I want to, so this is Hallmark Care Homes. And this is what we've done over time. So that's our care home business. Then we decided to set up a property business, a development business. So we develop and operate, we build our own care homes now. And the offices I'm standing in right now is the construction business side. This year now we've set up our Stantham residences and we are now building and operating retirement communities as well. That's a brand new business venture. What else do I do? The Hermit Golf Foundation. Many of you will have seen the videos who logged on early, some of the great work that we do within our foundation. And Anita, my wife, who you saw earlier, who will be coming on shortly, she's done some incredible work over the last 7 years. And I know I'm not supposed to talk about her MBE, and I wasn't going to say too much, but she, and many of you will know, that she's just to my left, you can't see her in the screen, but she's done some amazing, incredible work. To be recognised in the New Year's Honours list has been phenomenal. Thank you for all those who've given her such wonderful messages. The Alzheimer's Society. Anita and I are both ambassadors of the Alzheimer's Society, because we really want to make a difference to older people, especially the Asian community. And that's one of the reasons why we've been chosen to be ambassadors. We want the taboos of dementia and Alzheimer's and all the stigma attached to it to shift, because there are still some crazy things out there because people don't understand dementia. So Anita and I will be, watch this space, we are going to be doing a lot more work around that. And then championing social care. This came out, the Clap for Carers and the Care Sector Fundraising Board, where we've raised, Anita and I and loads of others in the sector have raised £350,000 so far for care workers and for Alzheimer's charities as well. And championing social care takes Clap for Carers to another level. And we really want to make sure that people understand what social care is, what care homes and home care and all the wonderful things that go on every single day. 1.4 million care workers in the UK making a difference day in, day out. They are part of the key workers. And then the A there is our seminar business, not business because we don't make any money, but the brand and everything that we do. And you know, we've been running seminars now for 8 years. This is our 8th year of doing vision boards. It's incredible how that time has gone. And from that very first time we did them to now, the journey that we've been on, who we've become in that process. And we'll talk later about why do we do what we do? Because I know everything I'm giving you, I'm getting back tenfold. And then E2E is our, I'm on the advisory board of this entrepreneur group, fantastic, 20,000 members. If you're an entrepreneur, join E2E, it's phenomenal. And then we've set up the Hallmark Care Homes Foundation now because we want to continue to make that impact. We're looking for a fantastic CEO to run both the Hallmark and Foundation and the Hemorrhage Gold Foundation. So if you know an incredible CEO, then please let us know. And also, Care England, I've been on the board now as chair of Care England for 6 years. I've been re-elected for another 3 years. So that's incredible as well. In terms of, these are the areas that I focus on. And the reason I show you all of this is that when I take you back to when we bought that first care home, if someone had said to me, you know, in 23 years' time, you'll have a board that'll have this on it, I would have said, go away. What are you talking about? How is that possible? How can one person do that? Yeah. But what I did, I created great role models, like Tony Robbins. How many of you heard of Tony Robbins? Raise your hands. Yeah. People are excited. And people like Richard Branson. And I thought, hang on, what have they got that I haven't? And I've had the good fortune to spend some time with Tony Robbins many years ago. I was on his Platinum Partnership program. And I got to see, and as I watch his videos and as we do more of this, and I remember the first time sitting in his seminar, being amazed by this knowledge that this man had, how he could stand up without notes. Right? I haven't got any notes, I'm just talking to you. Okay? I've got some slides. I was blown away by it. But it's a progress. It's one step at a time. When you look at a mountain, how do you get to the top? Share in your comments box. How do you get to the top? How do you get to the top of the mountain? Yep. Step by step, one step at a time. Yep. What's the key thing? Yep, someone's put it up there. Take the first step. That's the key. Take the first step, then the next step, then the next step, then the next step. Then 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years on, when you look, you go, holy moly, look what I've created. Look at the impact that I've had. Look who I've become. Okay? So, let's keep moving. So let me share with you something. So this is a former LA Fitness. So this is kind of what we do. We go and find a site. It's either a green field, brown field, got nothing on it, or it might have a building on it. And we go, right, what can we do with this? So we start thinking, we start visualizing, we start creating in our own mind's eye. Ooh, 1 acre, boom, boom, boom. And then what we do, we get an architect, and they come up with some plans. and we guide them because we've got a picture of what we think that we want, and we help them to create the picture that we want. And then we get them to then create an impression of what that looks like from the outside. So we then have this building that's now starting to go from me going to view the site or one of the team to it's starting to come together now. And now we've got this as a architect's impression. And then we go, okay, how's that going to look in reality? Right, so what can we do? We haven't built it yet. So we get a computer-generated image. And we go, like that. Okay, let's do it. So we've had it in our mind's eye. We've now created it on paper. Then we start building. And then we're doing this ourselves now. This is our very first project that Savista did. We built a basement. We then started creating the building. And there you go. You can see some pictures of the building in progress. And then, hey, presto, almost complete. The car park's just being done there. And then you can see the gardens, which I'm going to show you a picture of now. And then here's some of the insides of the latest project that we've done in Hutton View. We did our first virtual launch of this, which is kind of led on to this. So you do one thing, then the next, and before you know it, you're doing virtual seminars for hundreds of people. This is our library, this is our hair salon, this is our therapy's room, this is our bar for the residents on the ground floor. We've got another bar on the top floor, which is also our activities room as well. This is our cinema room with proper 5.1 surround sound and a starlight ceiling. This is one of our, we call it the farmhouse kitchen, dining room, and our music room. So that gives you a bit of a flavor of where my dash is so far. Okay, so we're going to have a 10-minute comfort break. It is 11:34. Can we be back in our seats at 11:45? We are going to be playing some videos to inspire you. So if those of you who want to carry on being inspired, you can watch this video. But let's be back to start promptly at 11:45, and we're going to start talking about goals. Okay, thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a nice comfort break and ready for the next session. It was great to see you watching the screen with all the people on, many faces that I know and many faces that are new. So thank you so much for that first session. We've got so much more that we want to cover going forward. So if we can keep moving the slides forward, my darling. Here we go. So now we're going to really get into the whole point of the first session was to start priming you up for the next big session, which is goals. Now, goals. You've heard goals said many times. You know, you need a goal. You need goals, right? But what I want to look at is why goal setting? Why do we need to set goals? Now, we all have goals. The question is, are those goals in line with everything that your life is about? Have you gone through a process where you really believe in everything that you want in life? And have you really gone through to see, based on everything I've said to you earlier, are your goals big enough? Do they inspire you? Have you looked at goals in all areas of your life? Or are you focusing on the areas that you're good at and neglecting other areas? And we're going to take you through a whole process around goal setting. Because one of the things is that we all have goals. Sometimes they're not the kind of goals that are inspiring, they're not amazing goals, they're not the goals that we are destined to fulfill our life on. And so today we're going to take you through a process that you're going to get really clear on as to what goals you should have, why you should have them, and then how you start taking massive action to get towards those goals. And those goals aren't just going to be in your one area, which is either your school, if you're young person, or your work, because, so often, as I've grown up and many of you have grown up, the focus seems to be on one area of your life, and you then start to excel in that area. But what happens is you then start to neglect the other areas. How many of you can relate to the fact that you probably over-focus on one area? Young people, it's probably the education. It's about getting those A stars. It's about then going to university and getting that great degree and then getting a great job. Or if you're at work or you're in a career, it's about getting the next promotion Or if you're in business, how can I earn this much? And so on. But we're going to take you through a whole process, going to get you to look at every area of your life. Because when you get to that rocking chair scenario, when you're in your 80s or your 90s, and you're looking back at your life, are you going to really be fulfilled to know that you led a fulfilled life? You've gone for the things that were important to you. You really knew what was important. You knew what your life was about. You knew what your unique purpose was to be on this planet, and you've gone for that. And one of the key things is that the whole point of goals is that when you have a goal, what you're doing is you're creating that future now. And by creating that future now, that's you get to live into it. And let me give you an example and understanding of that. How many of you own a car? How many of you know someone who owns a car? Right? So those young people, like your parents, for example. Can you remember when you got that car, or when your parents got that car, how suddenly you saw those cars, that exact same model, that exact same color, everywhere? You're going on the motorway. Oh, look, there's another blue Beetle, or whatever it is that you have. How many of you can relate to that? Raise your hands or nod. Yeah? Now, what happened? Did that car just suddenly appear? Those cars, rather. Did they just suddenly arrive and, of course they didn't. They were already there. But your experience of them is almost like they suddenly just popped out of nowhere. The cars that you suddenly now have, suddenly you can see that. But the whole purpose of what I'm saying to you is that when you create goals, what you're saying to your subconscious mind is you start looking for those opportunities. They start appearing, even though they're probably always there. How many of you know people that have amazing opportunities, and despite those opportunities, they don't take them. They don't see them. Yeah? A few nods. And that's because they haven't set their goals. They haven't set what their life's about and why. So, and that's called your reticular activating system. The moment you start to say to yourself, this is what I want, and this is why I want it, and you create this amazing, emotional, empowered purpose for why you want it. So I want £1 million. Why? I want £1 million because I want a quality of life that I deserve. I want to make a difference to other people. I want to live a life so I can give my kids everything that they deserve. That suddenly becomes an empowering context for the first part. But too many people have the what they want, but they don't know the why. And the other part is really make sure you know what you want as well. So we're going to cover all of that. And so one of the things that we've been doing for years and years and years is doing goal setting now. I've been doing goal setting for years. And this is us a few days ago. These are my family, our children. And we were, obviously, some of us were not, obviously because of social distancing, not in the same room, but we all decided to kind of be on separate screens. And we did our goal setting. And this was this year. And, we did this 2 years ago. We were in Dubai. And, this was on New Year's Eve. And we're at lunch. And I said to the family, I tell you what, it's New Year's Eve. Instead of just having a New Year's Eve lunch, why don't we talk about goal setting? Why don't we talk about our goals for next year? What do you think the family said? What do you think they said? Just quickly, one or two people. So this is New Year's Eve, it's lunch, it's nice and sunny, it's warm, and we said, let's do some goal setting. Yeah, Louise. No, let's eat. Come on, let's chill. Oh, come on, Dad. Why do we have to do this all the time? Oh, let's just have lunch, for heaven's sake. I went, no, come on. This will be good. Trust me. Right? Let's do it. And we started a conversation about what our goals were and kind of the process that you've already started to go through. What was this year about? What did we achieve? And you know what? Before you know it, everyone's excited. Everyone's talking about things. And it's an intentional conversation. I love intentional conversations. We don't have enough of them. We have so many kind of conversations that just talk about nothing. And at the end of it, you go, oh, okay. And I'm not saying we don't need those. We have those already. They happen by default. But an intentional conversation is incredible. And that's what we had. And then what happened? We went back to our apartment. in the evening, and we were going to obviously go out for a big event, an evening thing to see the New Year in. And I say to everyone in the family, tell you what, all those things we've spoken about, here, I've bought some journals. No, actually, I didn't say that. I said, let's write down our goals that we spoke about at lunchtime. And they all said, oh, what, do we have to do that? Come on, we just did that at lunchtime. And I said, yes, come on, it'd be great, because if we don't capture those goals, we're going to lose them. And they went, oh, you know what, we haven't got any paper. We didn't bring any, I went, haha. I'd bought 6 journals with me from back in England, so I had a bit of a plan, right? And so I said, right, here we go. And I had some pens as well. So then here we are, writing out our goals. So you know what, sometimes, and the reason I say this is twofold. You're going to hear from the children later on with a bit of luck, and they're going to share their journey. And but these things don't happen by accident. They happen by design. They happen when you're a champion to make these things happen. Because you know what, most of the world will not want to do this. This morning, you wanted to come. Some of you wanted to come online. Some of you were like, come on, we've got to go. It's like, oh, do we really? We could just lie in a bit. How many of you, and I just want to acknowledge you for being here, how many of you had this thought of maybe just leave it? It was a good idea at the time, but, we'll do it next year. Yeah, come and be honest. And then somebody was a stand for you and said, no, you've made a commitment, let's do it. Because, we had 1,200 people signed up for this. There was 1,000 places, and we've now got 431 people. Okay, so 1,200 people set out, and we really didn't know where we'd be with this, so we had to shut down the booking line for quite a long time to make sure we didn't overbook. And then we slowed down the promotion of it and so on. But 2/3 chose not to be here. 1/3 chose to be here. So first of all, can you give yourselves, actually, raise your hand in the air like this. Lean forward. And pat yourself on the back. Because you know what? The biggest part of achieving a goal is showing up. Don't you think? The biggest part of achieving a goal is showing up. Same like going to the gym, isn't it? The hardest part is getting there. Once you're there, the rest is easy. Well, how do you feel once you come out of the gym? You feel amazing, right? But getting there is the hardest bit. And that's the same for 2/3 of the people that said they'd be here and not here. Okay. Now, obviously, sometimes circumstances will dictate. But how many of us let our circumstances constantly dictate our feelings? Oh, that's happened. Look for an excuse, a reason. Oh my God, that's a bigger reason than this. And we give up what our lives are really about. So, on that note, I'm going to now bring Anita back onto the stage. So if you can just give Anita, if we were on a live event, I'd say please give Anita a round of applause. In whatever way, can you please welcome Anita back onto stage? She's going to talk through goal setting with you.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Right, firstly, I'll check. Can you all hear me? Thumbs up? Yeah, wonderful. Brilliant. Okay. I'll give Avnish this so you can do my slides. Thank you very much.
That way now. Sorry.
Yeah, it's only a few. It's just a few bits. You may know someone who right now has really struggled over the last few months, and we must acknowledge that because there's been so much going on. And I just want to take a second just to, think about people who have lost their lives, family members who are no longer with people here. I know definitely on this Zoom call there are people who have lost relatives due to COVID-19 or other illnesses over the last few months. And you may know someone, or you may know people that are in a place where they are really quite down because the year's been so tough. They're in despair. They're feeling quite lonely at this time. And all of these things have impacted what you wanted to achieve over 2020 and also over 2021. But it's now time to renew, reboot, and to refresh and to rejuvenate yourself. And you can do this any time of the year. I mean, I do goal setting with women's groups and Even myself, I constantly look at my goals. I'm reviewing them, I'm tweaking them, I'm seeing, do I really want to meet that goal? Do I really, really want this? What can I do to achieve it? And, it's constant having a look at where you want to be in your life. However, you may feel like there's some decisions that you've made that have led to poor action, or you've made some decisions that have been based on temporary emotions. You may have even had some negative actions that have affected other people, maybe in your family or even your friends. And you also may find changing too much can lead to panic. You may also have experienced that setting goals and then finding it really hard to stick to them. So I want you to really think about this and see that you may be, are you doing this? Sorry. I think Avnish pressed all the buttons. They've gone all funny on the slides. Right. However, you don't have to be in that place. I want you to imagine now that you are living your life in absolute abundance. You're living your best life every day. You're in great relationships with your family and friends. Imagine that you're living every day of your life filled with fun and laughter. And you've got so much joy that you're living in the moment. And you're having new experiences and enriching your life with new learning. You're growing your mindset, evolving through your personal development and growing your business and your career, and you're also achieving really well at school and at university. You're getting to do all the clubs and activities that you signed up to do in university or even at school. Imagine that you're spending more time on doing the things that you love to do, stabilizing and establishing your meaning and your purpose in life. Imagine that you are using your strength to serve others. A powerful sense of belonging where you are always valued. Imagine that you are loved and you love others unconditionally, and that you're living your life forgiving easily. You're proud of yourself and all of your accomplishments, and imagine embracing all your wins. You live your life acknowledging all of your successes and inspiring and influencing others. And that's a really, really great life to be in. Just imagine all those things if they're available to you, and that you're there right now and you're in that space. The power of goals is absolutely incredible. And it will give you the skills and strategies to make 2021 the best year of your life. Clarifying your goals with specific measurable outcomes is really important. Create habits and systems to maintain and tweak your goals, because that's something you're going to be faced with. You may think that you want a particular goal, but after some time, you may need to tweak it. And also develop a sense of purpose and meaning. And all the way, whilst you're doing all of this, decide on who you're being, and as well as who you desire being in your life. And it's a process. So today, we're going to take you through that process to help you create a space for positive change, and also to allow those changes to be inspired by your purpose. So make time to reboot, rethink, recharge, and renew. And let's change your narrative. Change your narrative of your life. It's time to restore, I think, a sense of purpose and focus, so that we live, we already live in a very complicated world full of lots and lots of distractions and lots of options that are available to us. And so today, I would say that it's really important that I share I love this is my four or five E's, but I picked 4 of them. I encourage you to really clarify what you want in your life, to engage with everything that we're doing, we're saying, and really dig deep, see what's opening up for you, and embrace some of these ideas and these concepts. And please be in it. Please share what you're feeling. You've got the box there, the chat box there. You've also got your family and your group there that you're hopefully with. Some of you are there with 4, 5, 6 members of your family. Sit there and share, what you want to achieve in your life. Enrich your life with all of this, because if this was available to me when I was a young girl, oh my God, what I think could have opened up for me in my world and the potential I could have unlocked for myself would have been incredible. But it's never too late. You know, I'm in my late 40s now, and I started working on myself, I think, around about 2012 when I lost my first husband. He died suddenly, he passed away, and that was a really tough time for me. And I remember spending the first year crying every single day, 3, 4, 5 times. I'd be on my way to work. I used to be a teacher, and I'd listen to a song and I would cry. I'd get to school, I'd be in front of my students, and something would happen or something I'd say, and I'd burst out crying. But I had a really good support network, and my students became really, really, you know, like they were my family in the classroom. And I remember that I had so much to give to the young people in front of me. 5 months later, we had an Ofsted inspection. And I remember working extremely hard with my team, who were incredible. And they helped me to design a really fantastic lesson. It was actually a physics lesson on forces and speed. And I did this lesson. I really got my children to think about, you know, how they can contribute to the lesson. And I came out 5 months after having a loss, you know, a really big loss in my life. And I was given an Ofsted Outstanding Teacher at that time. And I made a decision that if I can be there like that, and I could be an Ofsted Outstanding Teacher 5 months into my grief, I could do anything in my life. And from that day on, I really strongly believed that I could create my life and design my life how I wanted it to be. I then went on to complete my master's degree, which I nearly gave up doing, but I pushed myself that I can do this. By the end of that first year of my grief, I'd completed half of my master's degree. And then eventually I went on to complete it and graduated in 2015. Act on your life's mission rather than your day-to-day moods. Now, if I'd lived my life like that, my day-to-day mood was bad. It was not good. But through that, I kept on resurrecting and reinventing myself every single day. I had to regenerate myself in order to push myself to make or to get the best from my life. Alert yourself. You know, setting goals is about alerting you to the opportunities that are available. When you have a specific goal, it will magnetize your mind and to seize the opportunities that may come your way. And also, goals will help you to build a reputation of being your word and delivering on what you said and what you say as well. I love sharing my goals with everybody, and I love making these announcements that I'm going to be doing this year, and I'm going to be on this journey to do this. And when I make those announcements, I make a declaration publicly, and I share that with people, and I talk about it with people. I keep on sharing my ideas with people, because I know that you just come across fantastic people in your life who will help you to achieve your goal. And that's a journey that I've been on for these last few years. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my story a bit later on how I set my heart on achieving this one specific goal, and how I'm going to allow you to see how you can also do that and really unlock your potential as well. So the next section will be taken by Avnish. I'm going to get Avnish to come along and share about how we're going to use this acronym GOALS, and who's going to set you off, and we're going to look at gratitude. So Avnish, you want to come and join me? This is your bit.
Okay. Denise, thank you for that. I've seen some incredible... Sorry, I muted myself, just to be on the safe side. So yeah, great. Just been watching the comments that you've made. Thank you for all the comments and for sharing just part of your incredible story, Anita. You know, I just want to say, what was the fifth E? People keep asking. Do you remember it?
Oh, the fifth thing, empower yourself.
Empower.
My one was empower yourself financially so you can be independent.
Yeah. So there you go. Fifth E was empower. Yeah, you know, in terms of the journey that Anita and I have been on, and those of you who know us, this has been an incredible journey. We bring out the best in each other. We are each other's champion. You know, you imagine trying to put something like this on. We have hardly had, I mean, in normal circumstances, one would want to kill the other person, vice versa, through the whole process of putting something like this together. You can imagine we spent, over Christmas, New Year, working on material, working on the technology, working with all the things, and through COVID, how do we do this safely, and everything else. What happens if something, somebody gets COVID, if this happens, that, you name it, and then putting together the material. It is incredible when, I just want to say, and this is about you, you're an awesome, awesome person in my life that just allows me to be the best version of myself. And, then what you give me is just so much encouragement, so much support, and just so much love. And you just make me a bigger and better person each and every day. So I wanted to say thank you for that first.
Thank you.
And without realizing it, I've kind of led into the whole gratitude thing. And that wasn't the intention, but I just wanted to do it at that point. And one of the key things that I want you to think about is that part of the reason why we don't create big goals is that we're worried that these goals are not going to give us the things that we want, which is happiness and fulfillment. Because how many times have you heard this? Oh, so-and-so won the lottery. Yeah, but is he happy? Right? Almost the prerequisite, someone win the lottery, is that won't be happy. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. The question is, when we see someone doing well financially, or having bought this thing, or having material wealth, we automatically want to discount that and start saying, well, but are they happy? And so one of the things I want us to look at is that there's nothing wrong with having material goals, right? How many of you kind of agree that sometimes we have this thing in society, we want material things, yet we have this kind of constant nag about, is it right? Am I being greedy? Will it really buy me happiness? And I want you to find out your own answer to that, because your answer is the right answer. But I want you to have a think. So creating goals really works when you're happy right now, when you're grateful for everything that you have in your life right now. The moment you start going, I'll be happy when, that's when goal setting becomes a challenge. Because with goal setting, you create an urge, you create a desire, you create a dissatisfaction with where you are right now. Because that's how you create the goal, because you have this desire and this drive to get there. But if that desire and drive is on top of dissatisfaction, or lack of gratitude rather, that will lead to goal setting that's not the way that you want to do it. So I want you to watch this video, first of all. Hopefully this will play. About being happy.
Harvey, can you believe that my friend just purchased a private jet? Man, I wish I could afford one of those.
Well, you're not doing so bad yourself, sir.
But you don't understand. If I had one of those, man, I'd be much happier.
Hey man, sorry to bother you. Is this a new Rolls Royce? Hey, this is like my dream car.
Yeah, it is.
You know, man, I'd be so happy if I had a car like this instead of my piece of junk. You must be the luckiest guy on earth. Anyways, I gotta run, but thanks for talking to me.
You know what, Harvey? Now that I think about it, I guess I'm not doing so bad, you know? I guess the only way to be happy is to appreciate what you already have.
Piece of junk. I hate this car.
What happened? Did your car break down?
No, it runs fine. I'm just tired of this cheap thing. It's definitely not a Rolls Royce, that's for sure.
At least you have a car. I have to take the bus everywhere. I would be so happy if I had one. Anyway, I gotta run. I don't want to miss the bus. I hope you have a good day.
Wow. Guess I'm fortunate to have a car at all.
Everything okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm mad because I missed the bus. I just wish I had a car.
Well, I have to bike home 20 miles every day because I can't afford the bus.
20 miles? It's a long way to bike.
Yeah. Wish I could give my legs a break one of these days. Anyway, I gotta take off, but cheer up.
Maybe taking the bus isn't that bad after all.
Man, I hate this bike. I am so tired of having to bike home every day.
Hey, is everything okay?
Yeah, I wish I could afford the bus. My legs are exhausted.
Oh, well, look at it this way. At least your legs work. That's a blessing right there.
Oh my God. I am so sorry. That was really inconsiderate of me.
Don't be sorry. I'm happy with my life and with what I have, even if I can't use my legs.
If you don't mind me asking, how do you stay so happy?
Well, I wasn't always happy with not being able to walk. That is, until I met someone who reminded me, at least I have arms.
I guess it's true what they say. The only way to be truly happy is to appreciate what you have. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
So I am not on mute. I just wanted to take a pause really before I jumped straight in and get us to reflect on our own lives. I'll be happy when. How many of us have this, I'll be happy when? And I think the key thing, and I've seen it in the chat as well, this is about setting your goals, setting what you want based on your standards, on what you're capable of and what your life mission is about, not based on what someone else has. That's when we get that I'll be happy when scenario. So I want you to look at page 3 in your workbooks. And if you haven't got workbooks, that's no problem at all. Yeah, because it's a very simple exercise. All you need is a sheet of paper, or you can type it on your laptop or whatever. And all you're going to do is, you'll see at the top of page 3, it says, what are you most grateful for? And what you're going to do now for the next few minutes is you're going to write as fast as you can all the things that you can be grateful for in life. And this isn't the big things as well. This is about the little things. As you saw the lady in the wheelchair, she said, you know, I wasn't happy about my legs until I met someone who didn't have any arms. And who knows, that could have been someone that we know, a guy called Nick Wojcik, who's an incredible public speaker, who some of you will have heard of, who has no arms, no legs. Yeah, and he calls himself the man who has no arms, no legs, no worries. So I want you to write down now, for the next few minutes, get yourself really energized and write down everything that you can be grateful for. You know, for your health, for example. You know, when you have a toothache, you wish you didn't have one. So be grateful that you don't have a toothache right now. Yeah, hopefully you haven't got a toothache. Yeah, be grateful for that you're breathing. Be grateful for the people in your life. Be grateful for where you live. Be grateful for the smallest things. And suddenly you'll start seeing a whole new world open up. So there's lots and lots of examples. And as you're writing, if you want to type up some stuff so we can help each other, because if you put some stuff in the group, you'll prompt each other with some of those things. So 2 minutes or 3 minutes, we'll give you 3 minutes. Write down what you're most grateful for. Start now.